From Lagos, the nation.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, over 2 decades after being tied to the apron strings of state governments, the Supreme Court unshackles local government administrations, directs that allocations from the Federation accounts should be paid directly to them henceforth. President Bola Tinubu applauds the Supreme Court ruling on local government autonomy, says Nigerians, especially the poor, will be able to hold their local leaders to account. The Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja affirms the election of Usman Ododo as the governor of Kogi State. And organized labor meets with President Bola Tinubu as the federal government is upbeat that the impasse over the new minimum wage will be resolved by next week.
On business news, Nigeria's central bank governor promises to bring down high interest rates in the coming months.
On sports, Jasmine Paolini becomes the first Italian woman to
has ruled that the federal government should henceforth pay allocations directly to local government councils from the Federation account. Delivering judgment in the suit instituted by the Attorney General of the Federation, a 7-member panel of justices held that state governments have continued to abuse their powers by retaining and using the funds meant for local government areas. Justice Emmanuel Agim, who read the lead judgment, said states are mandated to ensure that their local government councils are democratically elected and that governors cannot use their powers to dissolve democratically elected local government councils. Our correspondent, Emanuela Ekele, reports.
The long-awaited judgment on who should handle the allocations for local government areas is here, and parties involved in the suit gather at the Supreme Court for the verdict. The suit was instituted by the Attorney General of the Federation in May this year against governors of the 36 states, asking for full autonomy for the country's 774 local governments. In the suit, the Attorney General of the Federation also requested the Supreme Court to authorize the direct transfer of funds from the Federation account to local governments under the Constitution. Delivering judgment, Justice Emmanuel Agim ruled that it is illegal and unconstitutional for governors to continue to receive and seize funds allocated to local governments in their states. The Apex Court held that no state House of Assembly has the power to make laws that could in any manner interfere with monies meant for the local government areas. It further declared as unconstitutional the appointment of caretaker committees by governors who run the affairs of the local governments. It held that the 36 states are under obligation to ensure democratic governance at the third tier of government. The Apex Court also made an order that henceforth no state government should be paid monies standing to the credit of the local government councils. They further ordered immediate enforcement and compliance with these orders by the state governments and successive governments.
First of all, as far as I'm concerned, there's no winner, there's no loser. The Nigerian people will enjoy the benefits of good governance. I think this has been in the clamor for a long time. It's not personal. What is important is that the people will hold chairmen now more accountable because the funds are going directly to them. And I think that it is time for us to move this discussion forward.
The judgment on local government autonomy have just been delivered by the Supreme Court. We'll get the certified true copy of the judgment as a body, the body of State Attorneys General of the Federation. We'll study it and then we'll come up with our statement on it.
This judgment brings a drastic change to the Nigeria democratic structure, where local government chairmen now have a say on how funds meant for them can be used. They also have rooms to now develop their areas in terms of education and healthcare. From the Supreme Court of Nigeria, Emanuela Ekele, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the president has welcomed the Supreme Court judgment affirming what he describes as the spirit, intent, and purpose of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on the statutory rights of local governments. In a statement issued by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngalale, President Bola Tinubu states that a fundamental challenge to the nation's advancement over the years has been ineffective local government administration, as governance at the critical cellular levels of socio-political configuration is nearly absent. The president emphasizes that local council leaders must now ensure that the broad spectrum of Nigerians living at that level are satisfied that they are benefiting from people-oriented service delivery. Part of the statement reads, quote, "The renewed hope agenda is about the people of this country at all levels, irrespective of faith, tribe, gender, political affiliation, or any other artificial line they say exists between us. This country belongs to all of us. By virtue of this judgment, our people, especially the poor, will be able to hold their local leaders to account for their actions and inactions. What is sent to local government accounts will be known, and services must now be provided without excuses." End quote. The president affirms that the decision of the Supreme Court to uphold the constitutional rights and ideals of local governments as regards financial autonomy and other salient principles is of historic significance and further reinforces the effort to enhance Nigeria's true federal fabric for the development of the entire nation. Meanwhile, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, has described the judgment of the Supreme Court as one that has emancipated the local governments in the country. The Attorney General, who filed the case at the Supreme Court, said the issue of compliance was now in the court of the state governors.
Naturally, one would be happy, should be happy. Nigerians are happy about it. I call it local government emancipation judgment, because it has really emancipated the local government from, the shackles of the past. So, and I hope that the local government officials will seize the opportunity, will look at it as an opportunity to develop their various local governments. Well, the ball is in the court of the governors. Let us see what they will come out with. But the judgment is clear as to what they should do. The judgment is clear as to what consequences will attach to failure or refusal to follow the judgment of the Supreme Court, which takes immediate effect.
Governor Chukwuma Soludo of Anambra State and his counterpart from Cross River State, Basi Otu, have also been reacting to the judgment of the Supreme Court that declared as unconstitutional state governors holding onto funds meant for local government administrations. Speaking at the State House in Abuja, the governors say it is necessary for resources to get down to the grassroots and for the people's money to work for them at all levels.
Nigeria is a democratic country, and we know very well that President Tinubu and the renewed hope agenda is a democratic one. And I believe that the judgment is taken in very good faith. All Nigerians should be happy about it. I don't think anybody is against development in the local governments. I don't think so. I have not read the details of the judgment that's passed. When we do, I believe that the application of it should add some pep to our local government administration.
At a fundamental level, yes, we need resources to get down to the real down grassroots, and we need the people's money to work for them at all levels, whether at the federal, at the state, and at the local government. We need the people's money together. We need to promote accountability. We need to promote transparency in the utilization of public resources at all levels to be able to lift the burden of the common man. For me, for my state, which is the other thing that is peculiar, is that there has been a lingering litigation, for example, that stopped local government elections in the past, and that particular litigation is still in the courts. So to speak. We're going to see how we handle all of that and to organize a local government election as appropriate. I'm a believer in having a democratic system. Like I said, I made a firm commitment to that, and I don't say what I won't do.
Meanwhile, the leadership of the National Assembly have also been reacting to the Supreme Court judgment that has upheld local government autonomy, describing it as a great day for democracy. Speaking of the State House, the leadership of the two chambers say it is now time to ensure the local government administration function properly and that elections at that level count.
I think this is a great day for democracy, and I congratulate the President for this initiative. And I know that all Nigerians now know that local government administration is an arm of government meant for the grassroots, and their money should be for the grassroots. And definitely, local governments can now undertake a lot of projects on their own. So I congratulate all. But it's a great thing that the Supreme Court has done the needful and has pronounced, and I think now we have to go back and think, working with the Attorney General's office and the Parliament to see how we can ensure that there's real election at the local government levels. And I think once that is done, everybody will have confidence. This is progress for democracy, and this is the way it should be.
This is an issue that has been before the Parliament for the past 20 years. All the constitutional amendments that were so far carried by the National Assembly, one aspect of it has always been local government autonomy. How do we make the local governments to work independently? Today, that possibility became a reality. So everyone is happy, and we're looking forward to local governments that work functionally. They'll be able to work on their own, extend goodwill to their own people, undisturbed by the excesses, if I may use the word, of the state governors.
Away from the Supreme Court judgment on local government autonomy, a three-man panel of the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja and presided over by Justice Onyekachi Otisi has affirmed the election of Mr. Usman Ododo as the governor of Kogi State. The court upheld the Kogi State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal verdict, which affirmed Mr. Ododo as the duly elected Kogi State governor in the November 11, 2023 governorship poll, after dismissing the appeal filed by the Social Democratic Party's candidate, Mr. Murtala Ajaka. The appellate court, while resolving all four grounds of appeal against the SDP and Mr. Ododo, declared that the destiny of the appeal is not in the cloud and therefore dismissed it without cost.
The courtroom is filled to capacity as supporters of Governor Usman Ododo of Kogi State and his challenger, Mr. Murtala Ajaka, gather for the verdict of the Court of Appeal on the outcome of the November 11, 2023 governorship election. Having exhausted their legal fireworks a week earlier, the three-man panel of justices, led by Justice Onyekachi Otisi, proceed to deliver their judgments. The Social Democratic Party and its candidates, Mr. Murtala Ajaka, predicated their appeal on the alleged certificate forgery of Mr. Ododo, overvoting and substantial non-compliance with the electoral guidelines. In the unanimous decision, the court dismissed the appeal on the grounds that the issue of alleged certificate forgery is a criminal allegation, which is a pre-election matter that must be proven beyond reasonable doubts. The court further held that the destiny of the appeal is not in the cloud, therefore sees no reason to disturb the findings of the election tribunal. However, lawyer to Mr. Ajaka disagrees with the appellant's court as he vows to challenge the verdicts.
The second respondent presented forged certificate to INEC. We brought in documents to prove that. We called 3 witnesses, PW2, PW3, PW24, to substantiate that. However, in the wisdom of the Court of Appeal, they said that is a pre-election issue. We believe that this may not be the end of the story, because democracy in our country is on crutches. It requires redemption. And we are hopeful that the final court of the land will step in and redeem the situation.
On his part, the counsel to Governor Usman Ododo applauds the verdicts of the appellant's courts.
In any event, we're not able to even bring evidence to show what was presented and whether the document qualifies as a certificate for the purposes of the Constitution. Then on the issue of non-compliance, they hinge all their case on a witness who testified without a witness deposition from the authorities of Peter Obi and all the series of cases of the Supreme Court, which are quite clear on the point that a witness who does not testify with a front-loaded deposition is not a competent witness. Whether the trial court was at judgment, realized it made an error in admitting the document, it can expunge same at any time, and that's the take-home from this judgment. So we are very pleased with it.
As the Social Democratic Party and its candidates head to the Supreme Court, the verdict of the appeal court is a temporary relief for Governor Ododo and his team.
In part 2, after the break, the Kano State...
Yes, you can. And you can do it now with Taj Bank. Open an account with as little as 500 Naira and earn profits with the Mudaraba Savings Account with Taj Bank. Enjoy zero account maintenance, withdraw as many times as possible and still get profit. Offer is open to both new and existing customers. Open an account by downloading the Tajway app on Play Store, the Apple Store, or walk into any Taj Bank branch closest to you. Taj Bank, our only interest is you.
Trust Nivea Perfect and Radiant Body Lotion to reveal your skin's natural radiance. The same unique formula, enriched with berry extracts, even tone complex, and UV filters to reduce dark spots and even out your skin tone. For radiant and even toned skin, say hello again to Nivea Perfect and Radiant Body Lotion. Try the full Nivea Perfect and Radiant range to unlock your most radiant self.
Forward ever, we must when they go walk hard. Allow down, we know they go back. That's why you go down for governor. Forward ever, we must when they go walk hard. Allow we know they go back. That's why you go down for governor. Sure you go vote for PDP. Oh yes. Oh yes, oh yes, we will do oh yes, man we sabi, oh yes, integrity, oh yes, better mama, oh yes, better papa, oh yes, better king, oh yes, better edo, oh yes, aye, forward ever, we fast when they go walk hard, alago now, we know they go back, as well you go down for governor. Vote as we Kogi for Governor 2024.
Especially the poor will be able to hold their local leaders to account. The Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja affirms the election of Usman Ododo as the governor of Kogi State, and organized labor meets with President Bola Tinubu as the federal government is upbeat that the impasse over the new minimum wage will be resolved by next week. Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court Abuja has ordered that the former Minister of Power, Saleh Maman, be remanded in Kuje Prison in Abuja pending the consideration of his bail application. Justice Omotosho issued the order after Mr. Maman was arraigned on a 12-count charge bordering on money laundering offences brought against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC. In the amended charge, the ex-minister is alleged to have laundered over 33 billion naira and acquired property through proxies. He pleaded not guilty to the charges when it was read out to him. The prosecuting lawyer, Olumide Fushika, sought a date for the commencement of trial. The lawyer to the defendant, Mr. Femi Ate, said he had filed a bail application shortly before the court resumed sitting. Although Fushika admitted being served with the bail application around 12:30 p.m., Justice Omotosho noted that the application was not yet in the court's file. In reaction, Ate prayed to be allowed to return next day to argue the bail application, which request Fushika did not oppose. Now, the judge then adjourned till Friday for the hearing of the bail application and ordered that the defendant be remanded in Kuje Correctional Center. Mr. Saleh Maman was subsequently led out of the courtroom by prison officials. A Kano State High Court has ruled that the trial of Abdullahi Ganduje, chairman of the All Progressives Congress, the APC, his wife Hafsat Umar, and others accused of bribery and misappropriation will continue even in their absence. The state government has filed an 8-count charge against the defendants alleging bribery, misappropriation, and the diversion of public funds amounting to billions of naira. Justice Amina Adamu Aliyu dismissed the application for a bench warrant and entered a plea of not guilty on their behalf. The prosecution counsel, Mr. Adiola Adedipe, a senior advocate of Nigeria, highlighted that service had been effected on the defendants and an affidavit of service was filed on June the 6th. He requested the court to enter a plea of not guilty for the absent defendants and urged for a bench warrant of arrest, emphasizing the importance of maintaining the court's authority. He stressed that the essence of an arrest warrant is to uphold the court's orders, as the defendants had refused to appear despite being summoned. However, counsel for the 6th respondent, Mr. Nureni Jimo, a senior advocate of Nigeria, argued that the service was not properly effected and questioned the court's jurisdiction over the charges. He also mentioned the trial of Ganduje, his wife, to continue despite the absence of court rules. That an application for a stay of execution was then filed before the Court of Appeal, restraining the prosecution from publishing the charges against his client. Mr. Jimoh urged the court to dismiss the prosecution's applications. Justice Adamu Aliyu then adjourned the case until October the 23rd and 24th for the hearing of the preliminary objection and the main charge. The federal government believes the impasse over the new minimum wage will be resolved by next week. Now, the Ministers of Information and Labour gave this indication after the closed-door meeting between President Bola Tinubu and the leaders of the organized labour in the State House. Our State House correspondent, Lanre Lasisi, reports that the meeting, which lasted about an hour, is to reconvene next week.
Members of organized labour arriving at the State House for a meeting with President Bola Tinubu on the new minimum wage. This follows the president's decision to have more engagement with stakeholders before a definite decision on the matter. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, some ministers, heads of agencies, and aides to the president are also in attendance. The meeting commences once the president makes his entrance. According to a statement by the Special Advisor on Media to the President, Ajuri Ngilali, the President expressed his concern for the welfare of the Nigerian worker, but called for realistic expectations as regards the minimum wage. The President expressed his concern for the welfare of Nigerian workers, but called for realistic expectations as regards the minimum wage. He said, "I pay attention to everything around me. A happy worker is a productive worker, and society depends on the productivity of the happy worker. You have to cut your coat according to available cloth. Before we can finalize on the minimum wage process, we have to look at the structure. Why must we adjust wages every 5 years? Why not 2? Why not 3 years? What is a problem today can be eased up tomorrow. We can take a surgical approach that is based on pragmatism and a deep understanding of all factors." At the end of the meeting, the Labour delegation speak on the outcome.
It has been said, so in the meeting, we try to put issues on the table, issues that are bothering and biting Nigerians today, the economic difficulties and the value of Naira, how it has also eroded, how this has affected the prices of commodities and goods in the market.
In real terms, it wasn't a negotiation, it was a discussion. We have had that discussion, and we agreed. Now, the status quo in terms of the amount, 250 and 62,000, remains until we finish this conversation.
The cabinet ministers speak positively about the meeting.
When father and children talk, you know what it is. That's just exactly what has happened, and it took us almost like an hour. And I believe that it's all for good.
The president is keeping to his promise to consult. He doesn't just want to take a unilateral decision. It's a decision that affects all of us. So he has consulted with the subnationals. Consultation with the organized private sector is ongoing. You have also seen that this consultation with the organized labor has also happened today. They have asked for a week. Like I said earlier, we're going to meet with them again. Hopefully, we'll have something that all of us will agree on.
The nation will be looking forward to next week when these engagements will be concluded and a decision taken. From the presidential villa, Lanre Lasisi, Channels Television News.
The Senate is cautioning the Police Service Commission and the Inspector General of Police to address the dispute that has trailed the police recruitment exercise. The Senate issued the warning after considering the report of the Senate Committee on Police Affairs on the confirmation of appointments into the Police Service Commission. The lawmakers urged the Commission and the police to work harmoniously in the interest of the nation's security. They also confirmed the appointment of a former Deputy Inspector General of Police, Mr. Hashimo Argungu, as the chairman of the Police Service Commission. The House of Representatives is to investigate the root cause of the lingering dispute between the Police Service Commission and the Inspector General of Police. The House believes this is necessary to proceed with the recruitment process without further delay. Meanwhile, the House is urging the police and the federal government to ensure press freedom and stop further indiscriminate arrests of the nation's journalists. So let's head to the nation's capital now, where Gloria Umezoke is standing by to give us the very latest from our Abuja studios. Hello, Gloria. Over to you.
Well, many thanks, Ayo. To security matters. The military has announced the killing of 183 terrorists in the last 2 weeks in the northeast and northwest regions of the country. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, the Director, Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, also announced the rescue of 187 kidnapped victims in addition to foiling oil theft in the Niger Delta region. Major General Buba equally disclosed that the military has uncovered plans by terrorists to attack some critical infrastructure in the country, and all relevant security agencies have been placed on red alert. The military is, however, appealing to residents to give their support with timely and credible information in order to strengthen the fight against insurgency.
The military is keeping up. We are keeping up the pressure through ongoing operations in 5 active theaters across the country. As you all know, we are fighting in the northeast, we are fighting in the northwest, we are fighting in the north central, in the south-south, and in the southeast. In essence, the terrorists have a support base of collaborators, and we must fish out these collaborators. That is the reason I keep repeating that winning the war without the support of the people is close to impossible. In the week under review, I will say that troops neutralized 187 terrorists during the week, even as we arrested 183 persons. Troops also arrested 43 perpetrators of oil theft, as we rescued 109 kidnapped hostages across the country during the week. We are aware of some of the plans of these terrorists to target some critical infrastructure in the country, and we have in place measures to forestall such plans.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has staged a rally to mark the 2024 African Union Anti-Corruption Day in Abuja. The AU Anti-Corruption Day is marked annually on the 11th of July, and the day is set aside to enable member states appraise their anti-corruption efforts and also raise awareness on the need for fiscal responsibility. The chairman of the EFCC, Mr. Ola Olukede, says the commission is not intimidated by any high-placed individual it is currently prosecuting and will follow all cases to conclusion to ensure corrupt individuals are brought to book. The theme for this year's day is Effective Whistleblowers Protection Mechanism, a critical tool in the fight against corruption. The commission is also encouraging whistleblowers to come forward as they will be protected.
What we are simply doing today, like I did say earlier on, is to commemorate the African Union Anti-Corruption Day, is to create public enlightenment and awareness on the evils of corruption in Nigeria and across Africa. And when you look at Nigeria, particularly as a case study, you will agree with me that the corruption has brought us to where we are. Bad roads, the economy is in shambles. Of course, you are aware of some of the high-profile cases that we are handling now, and you have seen some of the revelations. And so the message we are trying to preach today is that if all Nigerians can come together and say no to the evil of corruption, then within a short time, Nigeria will be great. So we want to take this message to all Nigerians, wherever they are, public sector, private sector. Corruption does not pay. Financial crimes does not pay. One day you will have your day. You will face judgment. So it is important for us to realize it in the interest of all Nigerians. So that's why we are bringing this message and we are drumming it up across Nigeria. You are aware that in this country, EFCC has had cause to convict ex-governors You are aware in this country, EFCC has asked us to convict serving legislators, to convict ministers, to convict even judges, senior advocates of Nigeria. You are aware of that. And quite a number of those cases, high-profile cases, are still ongoing in court. The proceedings are still going on. And of course, we are not going to relent. We're going to present every case diligently investigated before the court.
That is from the nation's capital. It's back to you, Ayo.
Thank you so much, Gloria. Still ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria's central bank governor Olayemi Cardozo promises to bring down high interest rates in the coming months. That will be on Business News. Please join us again.
Trust Nivea Perfect and Radiant Body Lotion to reveal your skin's natural radiance. The same unique formula enriched with berry extracts, even tone complex, and UV filters to reduce dark spots and even out your skin tone. For radiant and even toned skin, say hello again to Nivea Perfect and Radiant Body Lotion. Try the full Nivea Perfect and Radiant range to unlock your most radiant self.
Yes, you can. And you can do it now with Taj Bank. Open an account with as little as 500 Naira and earn profits with the Mudaraba Savings Account with Taj Bank. Enjoy zero account maintenance, withdraw as many times as possible, and still get profit. Offer is open to both new and existing customers. Open an account by downloading the Tajway app on Play Store, the Apple Store, or walk into any Taj Bank branch closest to you. Taj Bank, our only interest is you.
Welcome back. The Jennifer Etu Foundation has built and commissioned a multi-million-naira state-of-the-art medical center in Umunoha community in Betoli local government area of Imo State. According to the chairman of the foundation, Mr. Thomas Etu, the completion of this important project is in fulfillment of the dream of his late wife, Mrs. Jennifer Etu, who died of breast cancer some 10 years ago, having wished for every woman in the grassroots to have free and quality healthcare delivery.
This is the newly built maternal and child healthcare hospital initiated and completed by the Jennifer Etu Foundation for the people of Umunoha community in Mbitoli local government area of Imo State. This day is set aside for the inauguration of the facility, which coincides with the 50th posthumous birthday of Mrs. Jennifer Etu, who died of breast cancer 10 years ago.
And the Lord asked him,
family members, friends, well-wishers, as well as the Imo State Governor, Mr. Hopuzo Dimma, are here to witness this event. The ceremony begins with a solemn Thanksgiving service. Then the chairman of the foundation, Mr. Thomas Etu, and Mrs. Jennifer Etu's best friend, Tochi Onwuzurike, in whose community the project is domiciled, speak on the motivating factor behind the initiative.
My late darling wife passed away of breast cancer, and she suffered for 10 years. And Tochi, of Charles Onwuzurike's wife, was all through with her in the journey in the hospital. And my wife said to me in her dying breath that I don't want any woman to go through this pain that I have gone, especially the rural woman who does not have the resources that I have.
She said there are so many poor women going through what I'm going through. And she said, what happens if they die? What about their children? Who looks after their children? What will become of them? And she said, I'm thinking of an orphanage. So she dropped that seed.
The Minister of Health, who is here represented by the Medical Director of the Federal University of Technology Teaching Hospital, Owerri, Kingsley Achigbu, commends the Jennifer Etu Foundation for this laudable project.
I can imagine the multiplier effect of this seed that has been sown here, and indeed
in other geopolitical zones of this nation. I just want to congratulate the family for allowing God to use you to keep this home alive.
An excited Governor Hope Uzodinma calls on other like-minded philanthropists to support government in bringing succor to the people in the form of public-private partnership.
Jennifer Etuk Foundation is a living example of what generosity should be all about: service to God and mankind.
Thereafter, the governor commissions the hospital and is taken on an inspection tour of the facility. Residents of the area are given free health care as the medical center is open for public use. According to Jennifer A2 Foundation, it has offered free medical outreaches to 22,785 beneficiaries, delivered 57,939 health interventions, and reached out to 7,060 widows over the past 18 months.
Samsung Galaxy, world-renowned smartphones maker, has unveiled its latest product, the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6 and Galaxy Z Flip 6 series, enhanced with artificial intelligence features at a colorful ceremony in Lagos. The event, which also brought personalities together across sectors and spiced with entertainment, had the phone's giant showcase benefits derivable by every user, including health tracking.
Once again, Samsung is out with yet another impressive series of phones with AI features for more satisfying experience for users. The Samsung's latest foldable phones are now lighter, slimmer, and packed with AI tools. The Galaxy Z Fold 6 is a smartphone that opens outward like a book to form a tablet, and a clamshell-like Galaxy Z Flip 6 with a design reminiscent of a flip phones from the early 2000s.
Cameras enhanced AI, which offers high-quality zoom performance of up to 10 times range.
The company says users across board, especially those in the creative industry, now have a reliable partner.
In today's fast-paced world, staying ahead of curve is essential. We understand the importance of adapting to change, embracing new technology, and staying true to our core value of excellence and pioneering. With this new innovation, we are not just keeping up with the times, we are setting the standard for the future of our industry.
With the AI features in Samsung's Galaxy New series introduced, Samsung's foldables come with artificial intelligence capabilities, taking advantage of the device's multiple screens.
We're proud to unfold a new era of productivity and creativity.
The Samsung Galaxy's Unpacked event was not short of personalities, including the Chief Executive Officer, Airpeace, Alan Oyema, who gave his impression about the new phones.
Apart their compatibility and the ease to use, very awesome. And the kind of pictures that your phones produce are wonderful. So I don't see the reason why I should not be using them, but I'm very proud to use them.
Management says the arrival of Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6 and Z Flip 6 series enhanced advanced AI features is indeed a new dawn.
One of the key biggest use of the features are the sequence search.
The new Galaxy Z Fold 6 and the Z Flip 6 has a whole lot to offer. But the special one I would like to call out here is the integration of artificial intelligence. We are in the era of AI, and AI has actually come to stay.
This event, titled Samsung Unpacked, sets the tone for a whole new rewarding experience for every Samsung Z Fold 6 and Z Flip 6 series users, as they will help them get more done, embrace creativity, and stay healthy.
The leading financial service provider in Nigeria, Zenith Bank PLC, plans to expand into France and French-speaking countries in Africa as part of its near-future plan to solidify its footprint in the African continent and globally. This was revealed by the Group Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Zenith Bank, Adora Omirji, while addressing stakeholders and investors on the bank's growth trajectory and prospects during its Capital Market Day in Lagos.
The recapitalization of the banking sector by the Central Bank of Nigeria necessitated the Zenith Bank Capital Markets Day, having the founder and chairman of the bank, Mr. Jim Ovia, and the board of directors in attendance.
We have also bought power plants.
It's all about engaging the investor community, capital market stakeholders and customers on the bank's equity and operational strengths. Setting the event in motion, the Group Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer takes the audience through the bank's growth trajectory, achievements and prospects.
We plan to actually grow by the financial inclusion, corporate client strategy expansion, with a continuous focus on our retail expansion drive. And we intend to drive our retail with the state-of-the-art digital technology platforms. We have also established a fintech subsidiary called ZenPay, and we are going to use that to drive more profitability to the bottom line.
The program also highlights presentations on Zenith Bank market positioning across key product offerings, service delivery, financial performance, and growth objective.
Zenith Bank has become not just a bank, but a modern digital bank that is powered by the best IT infrastructure to drive growth into the next long future.
Though we still are the leader in the corporate segment of the market, today our retail business contributes about 42% to our total revenues.
The banks plan to expand into Francophone countries, manage oil and gas exposure, and the impact of foreign exchange volatility dominate the fire chat session with investors.
We see Francophone countries as a country with tremendous opportunities and is a growing GDP economy. And like we said earlier on in our presentation, we follow trade, we follow transactions, and we follow our customers. We follow the money.
For us as a bank, we intend to drive shareholder value not only from the corporate, not only from the retail on the digital platform. We also intend to drive shareholder value in the energy and oil and gas sector.
FX is a very difficult situation for the country, but for us as a bank, we have taken the necessary precautions to ensure that whether it goes high or low, it doesn't hurt our customers and it doesn't hurt our investors.
Leveraging its track records, combined with core values, Zenith Bank promises to sustain a financial institution recognized for innovation, superior performance, and creation of premium value for all stakeholders.
More business news is up next with Will Ebong.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you, Ayotunde. I'm still staying in the financial space. Nigeria's Central Bank Governor, Mr. Olayemi Cardoso, says the series of interest rate hikes carried out by the CBN's Monetary Policy Committee under his leadership will be short-lived, as the month-on-month inflation rate has already declined by 50% within 6 months. The CBN governor, who made this known today during a fire chat session at this year's edition of the Business Day CEO Forum, says the monetary actions were necessary to soak up excess liquidity and stabilize the naira. He explained that the major issue for the MPC is to rein down inflation and pledged that they would do what is necessary to tame it.
This is not something that I expect would remain with us forever, okay? Fiscal issues being moderated and the ability to soak up all the excess liquidity that we have in the system and be able to balance things out over a period of time, that's the important thing for the MPC as far as I can see. And I believe that, for example, I can tell you that between February and May of this year, the month-on-month rate of inflation, month-on-month, has halved, has gone down 50%, okay? So my sense is that, as I said, this is not something that is a one-size-fits-all and you'll expect, to continue like this. To the extent that the right policies are used, and obviously with the results we've seen, the right policies are being used, I believe that in the not too distant future, things will begin to moderate and interest rates will come down.
With that moderation in mind, we head to the domestic equities markets, which moved further into negative territory today with a huge drop from Seplat. Inijomekwa has the details.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the stock market report. Well, what Elizabeth spoke to me earlier today, that I should put more red in my outfit. I did not understand why, but at the close of trade at the NGX, I understood, because we saw Seplat, the market mover for today, losing 314 naira 90 kobo off its share price. Each of the shares lost that much, and it closed at 3,418 naira. So no wonder oil and gas counter, which has been surging for days now, shaved off 4%. There you have it, oil and gas in the red, 4% off that share price. Consumer goods followed suit, but not as bad as that. That's because of Dangote Sugar. Dangote Sugar gained yesterday, so profit taking just set in. Honeywell also, they go down. Banking recovered, finally, you say, 0.13%. And the all-share index gives us a summary of the market after 188 billion naira has been shaved off the market cap. It closed at 56.268 trillion naira. And yes, the all share dropped 0.33%. So once again, it's the bear winning the day.
Thank you, Ini. Wait to see the reaction of the markets on the CBN's governor's remark today. But in the meantime, let's check in on other major global equities. And that's a wrap on business. It's back to you, Ayotunde.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial star 894 hash now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
And thank you, Will. Kenyan President William Ruto has sacked his entire cabinet, leaving only the foreign minister and deputy president. The decision comes in the wake of nationwide anti-government protests in the country. The youth-led protests sparked by planned tax hikes, which Ruto was forced to abandon, have created the biggest crisis of his two-year presidency. Here's Simon Puzzi with more international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. NATO members have pledged their support for an irreversible path to future membership for Ukraine, as well as more aid.
We can and will defend every inch of NATO territory, and we'll do it together.
While a formal timeline for it to join the military alliance has not been agreed at the summit in Washington, D.C., the military alliance's 32 members said they had unwavering support for Ukraine's war effort. NATO has also announced further integration with Ukraine's military, and members have committed $40 billion in aid in the next year, including F-16 fighter jets and air defense support.
The work we are doing together now will ensure that when the time is right, Ukraine can join without delay. It is not a question of if, but when.
The Israeli military has told all residents of Gaza City to evacuate south to the central Gaza Strip amid intensified operations in the north. Leaflets dropped by aircraft instruct everyone in Gaza City to leave what is described as a dangerous combat zone via designated safe routes. The UN has said it is deeply concerned about the evacuation orders being given. It is the second time since the war began that Gaza City as a whole has been asked to evacuate. Over the past 2 weeks, Israeli forces have re-entered several districts where the military believes Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad fighters have regrouped since the start of the year. The first wife of the late leader of the jihadist group Islamic State, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, has been sentenced to death by a court in Iraq. Kark Criminal Court convicted the woman of working with the extremist organization and detaining Yazidi women. An Interior Ministry official identified her as Asma Mohammed, also known as Hudayfa. She was married to Baghdadi while he oversaw the group's brutal rule over large parts of Iraq and neighbouring Syria. George Clooney has issued a damning call for Joe Biden to quit the US presidential race hours after senior Democrat Nancy Pelosi swerved questions about whether he should continue. The Hollywood actor and prominent Democratic fundraiser said that the president had won many battles in his career, but the one battle he cannot win is the fight against time. His comments came after Ms. Pelosi, the former House Speaker, joined growing disquiet in the party, saying that time was running short for Mr. Biden to decide whether to stay in the race. A suspect wanted over a crossbow attack which left 3 women dead in the UK has been captured. A major police manhunt for Kyle Clifford ended when he was found injured near a cemetery in North London. The victims, who were the wife and 2 daughters of the BBC racing commentator John Hunt, were attacked at their home in Hertfordshire. The Chinese government says it will investigate allegations that fuel tankers have been used to transport cooking oil after carrying toxic chemicals without being cleaned properly between loads. The controversy has spread online as social media users express concern about potential food contamination. Tankers used for transporting fuel were found to be carrying food products like cooking oil and syrup and were not decontaminated correctly. The case is the latest blow to public trust in the Chinese government's ability to enforce food safety standards. And England football fans are celebrating after the men's team gave themselves a chance to win their first major trophy since the 1966 World Cup with a 2-1 win over the Netherlands. The British Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, here watching the Euros semi-final game with his Dutch counterpart, Dick Schoof, on the sidelines of the NATO summit. And celebrities were involved too. Here, Ed Sheeran sitting metres away from Adele, cheering England's equaliser in the stadium last night. And the band The Killers paused their gig to watch the end of the game, playing their world-famous hit Mr. Brightside at the final whistle. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Many thanks indeed, Simon. Let's get in more stories from the exciting world of sports. Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has announced cash donations valued at 180 million naira to the state's teams and individuals for their outstanding performances in various sporting competitions this year. The governor made the announcement at the official presentation of trophies and medals from the Rivers United Under-17 Youth League, Rivers Hoopers Basketball Club, Rivers Angels, Rivers Table Tennis Team, judo, chess, volleyball and hockey teams at the Government House in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital.
That's for the meal. Thank you very much. Next on the line is
I want to appreciate you people for everything that you have done, your determination, because if you're not determined to win, it's not going to flog you. It will just be, we'll try again, isn't it? But you want to be winners, and that is why we're celebrating today with these numbers of trophy here. I think I'm the most lucky representative of this state at this time. You're making us proud. We will be encouraged to support you the more. we will support you to make sure that you go places.
Let's turn our attention now to tennis, where 7th seed Jasmine Paolini became the first Italian woman to reach the Wimbledon final after defeating Croatian Donavekic 2-6, 6-4, 7-6 in the longest women's semi-final at the All England Club earlier today. The 28-year-old prevailed, winning the 2 hours, 51 minutes match to reach her second successive Grand Slam final after the French Open last month.
Sets for 1, 2-6, 6-4, 7-6.
Meanwhile, Czech 31st seed Barbora Krejcikova will face Italy's Jasmine Paolini in the finals of the competition after battling back for a shock 3-6, 6-3, 6-4 win over former champion Elena Rybakina. Krejcikova dug deep for victory against 4th-seeded Rybakina in 2 hours and 7 minutes on the center court. What a dominant display there by Barbora Krejcikova. And that's Sports News Tonight. I am Kelly Egiga. Is back to you today.
Many thanks, Kelly. And the main news again. The Supreme Court, in a judgment today, declared that it is unconstitutional for state governors to hold funds allocated for...
This is entertainment news on Channels Television.